Atmata Asha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavanto Manah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshush Shrotramatho Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarod Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam me astu Tadatmani nirabhya upanishatsu dharmaste mei santu te mei santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Page 10, passage number 30. Saiva adhastad sapuristad sapaschad sapurastad sadakshinatah sauttaratah saeva idam sarvam iti atha ataha ahankaradeshaha ahameva adhastad aham uparishtad aham paschad aham purastad aham dakshinatah aham uttaratah ahameva idam sarvamiti. Kasmat punah kvachinna pratishthaiti uchyate. In reply to Sage Narada's question, Sa Bhagavaha Kasmin Pratishthatah iti. He Bhagavaha, O Venerable Sir, Sa Bhuma, that Bhuma, the Brahman, Kasmin Pratishthatah, is established in what? That Bhuma, is Ananta, is infinite, is everything. So that it is infinite, that it is the self of all, that it is all pervasive, that Mahima, Pratishtita, is because of what? Sri Mahimni, it is because of itself, Yadivadna Mahimni, nor it is established in its own glory also. If you accept Bhuma possessed of these glories, that he is infinite, He self of all pervasive. Swamahimni. That is because it is the nature of Bhuma, it's not because of something else. A person such as Devadatta, Chaitra, Mitra, etc., they are Mahimanvitaha, they are great or glorious because of either wealth, name, fame, possession, power. And therefore, what we call a glorious person, the glory of that person is due to something else, not person itself. Here, on the other hand, the glory of Bhuma is not due to something else, it is itself, by its own nature it is so. Yadiva namahimneti, not even its own glory. So, katham kasmat punah question na pratishtita iti uchyate. What is the reason why the Shruti says that it is not established even in its own glory? Yasmat, because that glory is often different from the one possessing the glory. If that kind of duality were there, then you can say that he is established in glory. But here, what is Bhuma, what is his glory, and therefore, is not that Bhuma is even a glorious entity, possessing glory. Because what is Bhuma? Nothing is separate from Bhuma. Bhuma is one, non-dual. So what is Bhuma? What is Ishvara? The Ishvara should mean Brahma. Seva adhastat, because Bhuma alone is adhastat, below, uparishtat, above. Seva purastat, in front. Seva paschat, behind. Sadakshinataha, on the right. Uttarataha, on the left. Saiva idam sarvam. So here the Tikakara says the adhastat, uparishtat, they are all locations. Adhastat, below, uparishtat, above, on the right. So all of these are locations, seventh case, is it not so? So if these words are taken as location or seventh case, then of course Brahman is what is below, what is above, what is right, what is on right, what is on left. Yeah, adhastat is taken as a word. It is prasamanta. So each word can be prasamanta also. I mean, actually they are indeclinable. There is no, but that the meaning is the location, so seventh case. But it's a word, and therefore adhastat is a word. So bhuma eva adhastat, bhuma alone is adhastat. So this is an equation. Bhuma is adhastat, bhuma. So not only what is below is bhuma, bhuma is below. Not only what is above is bhuma, bhuma alone is above. Either saptamnantad or prasamantad. Asti. So Bhashyakara says, Seva adhastat na tad vyatirekena anyad vidyate. So this includes everything below, above, etc. All directions and what is in the directions also, that includes everything, the space and what is in the space. So time also and what is in time. And what is means vastu and also, so by this the space and time and vastu, all of this is included. Bhuma is the space, time, vastu. So nothing else, desha, kala, vastu, nothing else exists apart from Bhuma. Bhuma alone is everything. Had there been something other than Bhuma, then you could say Bhuma is established in something. Yasmin pratishtita syat, there is nothing other than Bhuma in which Bhuma could have been established. Therefore, Bhuma is not established. To be established in something, that something requires to be different from me. Therefore, that establishment requires duality of established and establish. So, the location and the located. But there is no such duality. Sati bhumnanyasmit bhumahi pratishita syat. Had there been something different from Bhuma, from Brahma, from Ishvara, then Bhuma could be established in something. Natadasti. Then what? Saeva tu sarvam. Bhuma alone is everything. That's what all this sarve, saeva tu sarvam. That's what the text says. Atah tasmadaso na kvachit pratishtitah. Therefore, asau bhuma, this bhuma is not established in anything. Yatra nanyat pashyati ityadi adhikartavya nirdeshat. Where one does not see anything, where one does not hear anything, where one does not know anything. So where in Bhuma one does not see anything, one does not know anything, but does not hear anything, it seems to suggest that this is Bhuma in which one does not see anything, one does not hear anything, one does not know anything. So that seer, hearer, knower is different from where? You follow? In Bhuma. Yatra nanyat pashyati, where one does not see the other, where one does not hear the other, where one does not know the other. So there is a knower, a seer, hearer, knower. In Bhuma, he does not see the other, does not hear the other, does not know the other. That Vakya, where may create the impression that there is this Bhuma and there is the one who does not see, hear, etc. in Bhuma, meaning that the Drashta or Jiva is there who is different from Bhuma. Adhikartavya nirdeshat. And therefore, also, Saev adhastat, Sa means that. That is what Paroksha. So pronoun Saha or that stands for Paroksha, meaning something that is remote, not something that is immediate, not something that is evident. So by the use of the pronoun Saha, and the earlier of our statement where one does not see anything, looks like there is a seer, hearer, thinker, jiva different from what is not seen, etc. And also by use the pronoun Saha, that is below, above, so that is Paroksha, someone remote, someone different from me. So the first Vakya, Yatra Nanyat Pashyati, creates the impression that there is the Jiva who does not see anything, does not hear anything else. So there is the Jiva. And secondly also, Saha Adhastat, that one is Adhastat. So that means that is Paroksha, or away from, remote from me. So this kind of impression can be created by use of these statements. Iti ashanka kasit mabhut. May there not be this ashanka, this doubt or this conclusion on the part of anybody that Bhuma is remote and that I am different from Bhuma. That is why it says Atha ataha ahankar adesha eva. Atha, thereafter. Ataha, because these doubts can be there. Therefore, Shruti says ahankar adesha. Ahankarena adesha. As ahankara now this adesha or upadesha is given. Aham eva dastat, aham uparishtat, aham paschat, aham purastat, aham dakshinatah, aham uttaratah. I am below, I am above, I am behind, I am in front, I am on right, I am on left. Aham eva idam sarvamiti. I alone am everything. So there are two entities. Saeva idam sarvam. Bhuma alone is everything. Ahmeva idam sarvam. I am alone is everything. So there are two things in everything. Can two entities be everything? Can two entities be below, then two are below and two are above? So what does this show? That Saha is Aham. That this is Mahavakya, meaning giving the identity of the Bhuma and Aham. Drashtuhu ananyatva darshanartham bhuma eva nirdishyate. That I see Bhuma, I know Bhuma. Drashtuhu ananyatva darshanartham. That for me to appreciate that Bhuma is Ananya, is non-different from I as I. So first we were given the darshana of Bhuma. Sevadastat sopurishtat savaidam sarvam. So that darshanam of Bhuma, the Bhuma is described. How should that darshanam, the knowledge or seeing of Bhuma take place? As the self, drashtuhu ananyatva darshanatam. That Bhuma must be seen as non-different from drashta, as the very drashta, as the very self. Thus the identity of the Bhuma, Brahman and the self is clearly stated here. Not just that you are Bhuma, but what is Bhuma and what is you? And see that fact. Aham eva saramidamiti. I indeed am this. I am Bhuma. What is I? Ahankarana dehadi sanghatopi adishyate avivekina. For an aviveki, aviveki means one who is not able to separate the self from the non-self. That aviveki takes the dehadi sanghata, the body, mind, sense complex as I, that is the habitual thing. So when it is said, I am everything, I am Bhuma, which I? This I. The one looks upon himself as a body, mind, sense complex. Iti avivekibhi. Some avivekis may conclude that when it is said that I am Bhuma, you are Brahman, what is you? Because Shvetaketu has its own conclusion or notion about who I am, and what the teacher has in mind, is it the same I that Shvetaketu thinks I am? So here, it is likely that the person may think that when it says that I am everything, I is what I take myself to be, only ahankara. Therefore, iti ashanka ma bhut, that from this ahankara adesha, as ahankara is everything, that because the word aham or ahankara is used by the Shruti in the previous passage, we must not conclude that what is told me here, or what the instruction is that as aham, as ahankara, as a dehadi sanghata, I am asked to see everything. Iti, therefore, the next passage comes. On the page 11, passage 31. अथात आत्मादेश एव आत्मा एव अधस्तात् आत्मा उपरिष्टात् आत्मा पश्चात् आत्मा पुरस्तात् आत्मा दक्षिणतः आत्मा उत्तरतः आत्मा एव इदं सर्वमिति. To leave no doubt whatever that what the teacher means by aham is atma. So, aham eva sarvam. Now it says Atma eva idam sarvam. Meaning that what was meant by aham in the previous passage is Atma. Atma eva adhastat, same thing. But repeats every time, doesn't skip anything. Adhastat, uparishtat, paschat, purastat, dakshinatah, uttaratah. What is Atma? So first we were told what is Bhuma. Then what is Aham? So as to eliminate any idea of the duality of Bhuma and myself. In case I have some notions about who I am, it's clarified that Atma, you are Atma. Apnoti iti Atma, then that which pervades everything. Atma ityav upasita, says Chhandogyopanishad. Because prananyeva prana bhavati, vadan vak, pashyan chakshuhu, shrudan shrotram, manvano manaha. When one breathes, he says that I am a living being. When he sees, he says that I am the seer. When he hears, then he says I am the hearer. When he thinks that I am a thinker, I am a knower. That's what one thinks one is, which is not wrong. That you are this, akrishna eva sa, but this is incomplete. To take myself to be a seer or hearer or thinker or knower is incomplete. Then who are you? Atma, the one that pervades in all these are all roles that you are taking, one that pervades all the roles. Only in the breather also, seer also, hearer also, thinker also, knower also. Atma pervades each one. That all of these are in fact roles or costumes, and the one that wears, pervades all the costumes. Iti upasita. How should you contemplate upon yourself? That I am a hearer, I am a thinker, I am a seer. Is that how you should meditate upon yourself, contemplate, or see yourself? No. Atma iti. I am the one that pervades all of them. Only nirvishesha can pervade. They are all savishesha. Hearer, thinker, knower. The nirvishesha who pervades in all of them, that's who you are. So that consciousness you are, and that alone is everything. Leaving no doubt whatever about this equation of non-duality. Atma eva idam sarvam. Not only Atma, because Atma also means I or self. The word Atma is usually used in sense of self. Atma eva idam sarvam. Self is alone all of this. So these three passages are given here that Bhuma is everything, Aham is everything, Atma is everything. So what is Bhuma is Aham. What is Aham is Atma. When one contemplates in this manner, leaves no doubt about the nature of reality, nature of the self. So the passage says further, Sava eshaha evam pashyan evam manvanaha evam vijanan atmaratihi atmakridaha atmamitunaha atmanandaha saswarat bhavati tasya sarveshu lokeshu kamacharo bhavati. Atma sarvatah sarvamiti evam ekam ajam sarvato vyomat purnam anyashunyam. These passages describe that the self is one, ajam, birthless, sarvataha vyomat purnam, the complete and whole in every way, anyashunyam, non-dual. So this is the essence of what these three passages told us. Evam pashyan, when one sees oneself for the truth in the manner that is unfolded or described in the earlier passage, esha vidwan, sava esha vidwan, this wise person, evam pashyan, seeing in this manner. How do you see? Manvanaha, on account of having manva reflected in this manner. Evam vijanan, and thus knowing. So this process of how the knowledge takes place was earlier discussed, and that is again restated here. Pashyan, manvanaha, vijana, atma drashtavya, shrutavya, mantavya, nisidhyasitavya. And then this wise person is described here, the Jivan Mukta is described. So nature of reality said, the knowledge, how the knowledge takes place is also stated. As oneself, as secondless, as a whole and complete, excluding nothing, including everything, and without any visheshas, self-sufficient. One knows oneself in this manner. That's the glory of Atma. Atma eva idam sarvam. I am, the self is everything. And this is necessary to say because it is by habit that I say that I am not anything outside of this body. I am not everything. I am not everywhere. And even though this is my conclusion, I am not happy about that conclusion. That I am not everything. I was comfortable that I am not everything, no problem. That I am not whole and complete, that was, if it did not matter, then it doesn't matter, you don't have to know that. But my conclusion of perception, I see myself, therefore seeing is important. The way I see myself as an incomplete being, as one among many, that self which I see right now is to be seen as all, complete self of all. So understand that we already have aparoksha jnanam. Don't get intimidated by this word aparoksha jnanam. That's how Atma is known right now. How do you know yourself? Are you there? Yes, Swami. How do you know? Oh, I see myself that I am there. Do you? There is aparoksha jnanam. Meaning that we know the self as aparokshataya. And we say it also, then we know something parokshataya also as his body, etc. And then we mix them up together. And therefore, what is not aparoksha is just to be deleted. It's negated. It is not self. So Atma can be known only aparokshataya because it is aparoksha. And it is self-evident, therefore it is already known aparokshataya. Meaning that as I know Atma right now, in that whatever are the elements which are not I have to be given up, negated, deleted, let go. Don't hold on. I am great, give up. I am small, give up. I am right, give up. I am left, I am wrong, give up. Whatever we add in I am, give up, because that all belongs to Anatma. I can't give up. I'm right, I cannot give up. I'm wrong, I'll give up. Swami, what's wrong with that? There's a punya, papa. But papa is all right. Why should I give up punya also? Dukkha is, why should I give up sukha also? If he's all anatma. Sukha also is located in anatma, just as dukkha is. And punya is located in atma, just as papa is. Therefore, don't identify. Don't let them hang on to you. You don't hang on to them. That requires vairagya. All right, yes, I'm not. Suppose you can just say that. That's all, nothing else. No, that I can't say. This I cannot give up, and that I cannot give up. So that is called attachment, asakti, etc. And that's why we are taught, how it's all is all limited. Why do you want to hang on? I'm a virtue. Well, virtue also is limited. Therefore, why do I want to insist that I am a limited being by holding on to something? Evam pashyan, evam manvanaha, evam vijanana. So, manvana, vijanan, no, by manvanaha, by reflecting, by logical process of inquiry or vichara. Evam vijanan atmaratihi atmakrida, then this is the result, which are all sort of just for the children, just to make, and this is what people want. So how do you describe the results that a wise person gets? And this result or the reward should be described in language that a listener can understand. So we understand greatness, glory, playing, So Atma Kridaha, Atma Ratihi, reveling in himself. So reveling in the objects I always do and get some kind of pleasure. So first of all, pleasure is Ratihi. Priya, Moda, Pramoda, Rati, Tushti, Trupti, Atma Rati. So I get pleasure in dwelling upon things that I like, and there's a movie and this, X, Y, Z, whatever, that I like. I like to think about things because that gives me some pleasure. Atma Krida, but interacting with them, playing with them gives much, much greater joy. Atma Mithuna, uniting with the even greatest joy. So anyway, Rati, Tushti, Trupti, Atmananda hai. So wise person becomes all this. These are all the descriptions of the person. Atma Ratihi, one who revels in Atma, anyone who gets the joy of reveling from Atma itself. One who gets the joy of playing with someone that you love also from Atma itself, or Mithunam also Atma itself, Atmananda hai. So this is the description of the wise person. Sounds very attractive, tempting. So Swarad Bhavati, he becomes a sovereign. Swarad, the ruler of the whole universe. Sounds good. Tasya sarveshu lokeshu kamachara bhavati. He has the freedom to move about. He rules everything. The ruler has the freedom to move about all the territories which he is ruling, is it not so? So pilot cars are there, so many, preparation begins 15 days ago and so many agents go and check up everything. And then there is so when the Prime Minister of 15 pilot cars and 15 police cars and 15 this car and where he is, God knows, the crowd of the whole road. Above, below, on the side, above, I guess they must be also monitoring. Swarad bhavati. Tasya sarveshu lokeshu kamacharo bhavati. Today the Prime Minister is in Pondicherry, next day is in Ahmedabad, third day is in Sarve Shulkamacharo Bhavati. The ruler freely moves about in the territory that he rules. So this is how the wise person is. How do you like that, isn't it? The fullness that wise person is experiencing or is described in the letter, in the words which an ordinary person understands to attempt to create motivation that yes, this is, I want to be like this. So what is ideal or what is goal is described in very tempting language, so that person is motivated that this is what I want to do, how I want to be. But how about others? So last sentence. Athaye anyatha atah viduhu anya rajanaste kshayyaloka bhavanti tesham sarveshu lokeshu akamacharo bhavati. To contrast, this is called Vyatireka. So the Anvaya. So what accompanies wisdom? There is Atmarati, Atma Kridaha, Atma Misunaha, Atma Anandaha. Athaye Anyatha, Ataha Viduhu. Those who know different from this. Now those who know even Ishvara is different from the self. Atahanyatha meaning those who know as different from what as non-duality. And what is non-duality? That which is free from any, as we say, sense of division, separateness, sense of confinement, sense of limitedness. And therefore a person becomes free from sense of limitedness, confinement, smallness. Therefore free from needs, expectations, cravings, attachments, aversions. That's called freedom. Moksha can be simply understood as freedom from all this negative stuff in my own mind. There is no craving, no disappointment, no anger, no elation also. That sounds very dull, Swami. No elation also. Elation is harsha. No harsha, no shoka. Shoka I don't want, harsha I want. But harsha also, when this elation comes, it is not I who is, there is no freedom there. Something happens in my mind, it takes over my mind. Harsha, in shoka there is no freedom. In harsha also there is no freedom. It's not I who decided to be happy. Happiness or whatever just came and took hold of me. And he will leave me also. Yes, anyatha ataha viduhu. Those of the self as different from this, different from non-dual, they are different, therefore limited. Means they consider Ishvara as different from them. They are the people who are addressed here. Anya rajanahate. This wise person becomes Swarat, his own king. Swayam rajate. These are Anya Rajanaha, they are being ruled by somebody else. Meaning that as long as even Ishvara is different from me, as long as the duality is there, that I am separate from something, meaning that I am a limited being, a Jivatma, so long I am not independent, I am not Swarar, I am not independent. I am dependent. We say Anya Rajanaha Bhavanti. They become those who are ruled by other kings. They are ruled. And this being ruled is something that no person can really accept. Being ruled, being controlled. When I feel that somebody is controlling me, I react. Don't tell me that. Don't come close. Yeah. Then I right away show them the boundaries. So nobody can accept being ruled, controlled. Nobody can accept being helpless. I want to be free. My definition of freedom is I should control it. That's why it's described this way. When I can control, I'm sovereign, I can control, I can go where I want. No, that is all childish language, but that's what a person understands. That I can control. But why do you want to control? This controlling itself is a big complex. But I think that I am powerful and I'm empowered when I control everything. No, you are empowered when you are free from need to control also. To control is also a need. Why should I control? I need not control when I'm happy with what is. I need to control when something is not favorable to me, something not acceptable to me, then I want to make them twist and turn them, make them as I want them. Why should you want anything? To be what is fine. If that is my vision, then there is no need to change anything. We want to change things not for themselves, for our sake. I want to change so that everything is favorable to me, convenient to me, comfortable to me. But then that glory belongs to something else, that I'm comfortable because of something. No, comfort is a nature. Recognize that. So when I recognize bhuma or comfort as my own nature, I don't need comfort. I don't need anybody to give me comfort. Then I don't need to control anything. So without controlling, I am all controller. So either you become all controller or become free from need to control. Become all controller is karma, is vishesh, so saguna. Free from need of control. It's the same thing. Shrotriyasya cha kamahatasya. So Taittiriya describes that the happiness that even Indra gets also. Why? Because all his desires are fulfilled. That is why is Indra, the king of devatas. Same happiness. Shrotriyasya cha akamahatasya. One who is wise and free from desires. And sitting in the tree. So sitting in the tree without desire, free from desire, because of wisdom that I am complete. He enjoys the same happiness that Indra, and not only Indra, but Brihaspati. Not only Brihaspati, then what? Prajapati. Not only Prajapati, Hiranyagarbha. Not only Hiranyagarbha. He enjoys that happiness. Well, the happiness of the self. Otherwise, if I think that Brahman is different from me, then I become controlled because I never become free from the need. I remain incomplete. And incompleteness means always a desire to be complete. So desire is there. And a desire is always controlled by the one who will fulfill the desire. Moment you expect and understand you are controlled. Moment you want something from somebody, expect something to happen, something from somebody, we are controlled. Because then that end person decides whether I am happy or not. They decide whether to fulfill my expectation or not. If they choose not to fulfill my expectation, I am miserable. If they choose to fulfill the expectation, I am happy. But that's all. This is nothing but begging happiness. Happiness coming by fulfilling expectation is by happiness of beggar. Beggar is not a chooser, and therefore the one who gives decides. You don't decide. Give up this. We should know what bondage is. Why do you hang on to the desires and expectations and demands? Why do we do that? Why should you want somebody to be something, to do something, not to do something? Just let them be free and you be free. That's the wise person. Gives freedom to everybody because he recognizes everybody is complete and enjoys the freedom. Otherwise, you are always being controlled by others. Shaya lokaha, he gains infinite world. These fellows gain only limited world. And therefore they don't have the freedom. So to contrast the freedom or the reward that a Jivan Mukta has as compared to what a limited or an ignorant person has. Ukta vidya stutyartham eva. Again for stuti of the vidya, bhuma vidya, vidusha srashtruttvamaha. Most amazing. This vidya is praised by saying that the wise person is a creator. Not that he wants to be. Not that he wants to be any of this stuff. If he wants, then he cannot be wise. As long as you want something, even I want to be a creator, that is also a want. But how do you describe this freedom from want? By saying that all your wants are fulfilled. How do you describe his freedom? By saying that all his dependence is gone. Because freedom cannot... Anything can be described in the terms that we are familiar with. So we are familiar with what bondage is. Absence of bondage is freedom. That's how it will describe. Or when the bondage is not there, when the control is, then how you are. You imagine that I'll control everything, then I am free. So okay, wise person is one who controls everything. I want to create. We don't have that kind of thing, but then in the Vedic science perhaps people may be thinking like this. Out of Hiranyagarbha, who creates everything. All right, become wise, that also is done. So, Ukta Vidya Stutyartham Vidusha Srashtruttvamaha. And so now the Vidya or the knowledge is extolled by describing the wise person as the creator. Atmatonnam, Atmato balam, Atmato vijnanam, Atmato dhyanam, Atmatas chittam, Atmatas sankalpaha, Atmato manaha, Atmato va, Atmato nama, Atmato mantraha, Atmatah karmani, Atmata eva idam sarvamiti. Thus, etasya evam pashyatah evam manvanasya evam vijanatah, as was said earlier. Or one who sees thus, one who reflects thus, one who knows thus. The Shruti is consistent in saying this, in every passage, consistently. So what is now for this wise person? Atmatah pranaha. Atmatah. So remember the whole sequence? Starting from nama, then vak, then mana, then Dhyanam, then Vijnanam, then Balam, then Annam. I know. If you are clever enough, then it's all in front of you. There are some people who are saying it out of memory. Some people are more smarter and then... From prana all the way to nama, the whole sequence is reversed. It began with nama and then culminated to asha and prana. So for this wise person, atmata, from atma alone now, that prana and asha and smaraha and akasha, all of these are created of atma alone. So what's the difference? What has happened to the wise person that is different from what it was earlier? Says Bhashyakara, Prak sadatma vijnanat svatmanah anyasmat satah pranadehe namantasya utpatti pralaya abhutam. So before the knowledge of the self, that I am Sat, I am Asti, Bhati, Priyam, I am Brahma, I am Bhuma, I am non-dual, before that knowledge, what was the understanding about creation? Svatmanah, Anyasmat, Satah. Sat or Brahman, that is different from one's own self. So Brahman is a Jagat Karanam, the cause of creation. And from Brahman, Prana up to Nama, all of this is created. So this was the understanding before I recognized what my true nature is. Then when I recognize that Brahma is myself, then this creation from Prana all the way up to Nama is from Brahman, all right, but not from Brahman separate from myself, Brahman as myself. And therefore now the whole creation is from Atma. This is now the wise person sees. We also say Brahman is Jagat Karanam, the cause of creation. From there the whole universe, Tasmad, or Yasmat, from where the whole universe comes, by it is sustained and to go back. Yato vayamani bhutani jayante. Yata, from which? So that's still different from me. So now the equation is complete here. Atmataha pranaha, atmataha asha. Not from whom the universe arises, by whom it is sustained, and to whom it goes back. By I, from I the universe arises, by I it is sustained, and to I it goes back. Avirbhava, Tirobhava, also included here. Avirbhava, Tirobhava. Sadatma sati idanim svatma eva samvrittau. By this knowledge now, this wise person has become Sat. He has become Sat, become Brahma, meaning he has recognized that I am Sat or Brahma. Then similarly, anyopi vyavaharaha, atmaratihi, atmakridaha, etc. All of this is because formerly these things were thought to be coming from somewhere else. Now rati also, and then krida also, and Visana also, Ananda also, is all from Atma, which formerly were thought to be coming from something else. न केवलम ब्रह्मणोक्तम इह विद्याफलम ब्रह्मण. So Brahmanoktam, sorry. This is a Brahmanopanishad. And so what is said here is said by Brahmana, means Brahmana section of the Veda. There are two sections, Mantra section and Brahmana section. Where Brahmana is explained as that which elaborates the meaning of mantra or which tells us the application of mantra, where different mantras are employed, how they are employed. All of this is what is done in Brahmana, basically Karma Khanda. And Upanishads are found in Brahmana also, like Chhandogyopanishad, it's called Brahmanopanishad. So Upanishad stated all this result of the wise person. And still someone may say, well, still it is said by Brahmana. Na kevalam Brahmanoktam iha vidyaphalam. Not only that this vidyaphalam, the result of the knowledge is stated only by the Brahmana's action. Kintu mantroktam cha iti. Even mantra also says the same thing. So often this is a style. Tadapyesha sloko bhavati, like Taittiriyopanishad also, says something and quotes a mantra to validate what it has said. Here also, this is all said by the Upanishad, which is the Brahmana Upanishad, and says, look, what we have said is validated by a mantra, and a mantra is quoted here. So, kincha, therefore, next one says, the passage 33 on the page 12. Tadesha shlokaha na pascho mrityum pashyati na pascho mrityum pashyati na rogam nota dukkhatam sarvamha pashyah pashyati sarvamapnoti sarvashah iti. So this mantra says, where the mantra comes from, they know. I don't know that you may find this mantra in Rigveda or not, you may. The point is that there is a mantra which says essentially that na pashyah mrityum pashyati. Pashyati iti pashyah. Pashyah. One who sees. Yathokta darshi vidwan. Pashyah, one who sees. Means one who has a knowledge. The wise person as described earlier. Mrityum na pashyati, does not see death. Narogam, does not see disease. Nauta dukkhatam, dukkha bhavam, or the state of sorrow. So the wise person does not see death, does not see pain, does not see sorrow. Sarvamha pashyah pashyati. Pashyatah sarvameva pashyati atmaneva sarvam. Meaning that Pashya, the wise person, sees everything. When? As Atma. See, everything cannot be just other than myself. Everything should also include the self, understand? I see everything. Usually everything is all around other than me. This is not, tino kaal mein hai nahi, this world is not there in all the periods of time except this one. So when we say everything, we often include this one. But sarva should include this one also. Sarvamha pashyah pashyati. Sarvameva sah pashyah atmaneva sarvam. That he sees everything as a self, and self is everything. Sarvamapnoti sarvashah. Therefore, sarvashah sarva prakarahi. In any way, he attains everything. So this is the result of the wise person. There is freedom from samsara, freedom from death and disease and sorrow. Oh, Swami, na maranam pashyati, na mrityum pashyati, means wise person does not die. Na rogam, is no disease. Does the wise person become free from death and disease? All the people that we have known had death also and disease also. So how does Upanishad say that wise person doesn't die, doesn't have disease, doesn't have sorrow? There is death, no doubt, but where is it? Body. There is also disease, also in the body. Dukkhatam. Even pain also may be in the mind or body. That everybody has, except wise person doesn't identify with that, therefore he doesn't say, I am dying or I am going to die. I am suffering. That's all. Everything remains the same. Outwardly nothing seems to be much different. It's that inwardly the perception is totally different, and therefore, so you become free by recognizing that you are free, that's all it is. Freedom is not to be attained, is not to be achieved, is to be just recognized that it is. Sarvam pashyati sarvam apnoti sarvasha. Sarvasha, in every way, sarvam apnoti, attains everything. Iti purnata paricheda brahma vyavartena vivakshita. Not that he attains everything in every way. This is a description of purnata. What is purnata, what is completeness is that one attains everything in every way. Not there is an attainment. There is the removal of the notion that everything is not attained. If wise person to attain everything, that everything will take years and years and birth, nobody can attain everything. If attainment is in primary sense, it can never happen. It's a recognition that everything is already attained. Because there was a Brahma or a wrong perception that I have not attained this or not attained that, recognizes that I am everything, and therefore everything is attained by virtue of knowledge. Natu krimi kitadi bhava, not that he becomes everything, he becomes also an insect and everything. That's not the idea here. He becomes everything, suppose he becomes an insect. That's not the point. Point is that I am the self of all. Vidya stuti paushkalyartham. Again, the stuti or the praise of the knowledge is further enriched. Saguna vidya phalapi nirguna brahma vidapnoti. That nirguna brahma, with the knower of nirguna brahma, or knowing Brahman as nirguna means knowing as self, that's all. There is one entity, there is nirgunam, Only one entity is nirgunam, or nirvishesham, or advityam. Who is that entity? Who is nirguna? Who is nirvishesha? The self. Because all visheshas are objectified. All visheshas, all gunas, all anatma, all dvaita, all of this is a matter of knowledge. One who knows is free from that, so it's already there. But still, that's all right, Swamiji, that now you are non-dual. But then what about, how about these people, he is a sovereign, he has all the power. So still the fascination, but one who has not gained the knowledge. He may not be turned on by this saying that, Atma Krida, Atma, so what? Because Nirguna Brahma Vidya Phalam may not be that motivating. Because so far, right now, the listener only is aware and knows the world and all accomplishments, and that is what he is fascinated by. And therefore, the knowledge of Brahma, Nirguna Brahma, is described, or the reward is described in the language of the reward of Saguna Brahma also. And so the next line says, next passage, स एकधा भवति त्रिधा भवति पंचधा सप्तधा नवधा चैव पुनश्च एकादश स्मृतः शतं च दश च एकश्च सहस्राणि च विंशतिः. So ekada bhavati, he becomes one. Tridha bhavati, threefold. Panchada bhavati is fivefold. Saptada bhavati, sevenfold. Navadha bhavati, ninefold. Punasya ekadasha, again 11, okay, 11. Shatam cha dasha cha. What is that? 110. So you said that from Sanskrit text or from English translation? Where does the answer come? Ekasya sahasrani cha. Dashascha ekascha sahasrani cha. So yes, 110 and 1020 and whatever it is, what doesn't matter what it is. I've not paid much attention. You can say 200, 3,000, 5,000 million, So Bhashyakara says, Kincha vidwan prag srishti prabhedat ekadaya bhavati. This vidwan, wise person, before the creation was one, recognized himself as one. Then trida bhedahi ananda bheda prakara bhavati srishti kale. See, when you recognize yourself as everything, then there is 1 and 11 and 8 and 9 and 5, 11, srishti, anekadaha bhavati. So you become countless, is it not so? Some counts are given here just to encourage us. Countless doesn't, what do you mean? So 1,000, 10,000, that's something. Countless may not really perhaps register in our mind. You will get 1,000, 10,000, you will become 15,000, 25, then. So, meaning that ananta bheda prakaro bhavati srishti kale. Because of his identification with everything, therefore he becomes infinite, or countless I should say, at the time of creation. Punas samharakare moolameva swam. So samharakale, again he becomes one. Swam paramathikam ekadha bhavam pratipadyate. When all of this is not there, again he abides in his own non-duality. Swatantra, in short, he is Swatantra, he becomes one, he becomes three, he becomes five, he becomes countless, he becomes one again. Swatantra evedi vidyam phalena prarochayanti. So prarochayan stauti. It is just creating the motivation. We may not do so, what's the big deal? But that depends on the time. Right now you may be told that you can go to moon and in these present terms things may have to be described. If you gain this knowledge, then you can go to moon. You can have a colony in Mars. You can have things like that. That I want. So whatever is the present, in that term, the result should be described. Not in all this. But those days, this was the thing that was motivating, fascinating. So this is Stauti. This is also the Stuti or the praise or extolling of Brahma Vidya, just to show how valuable Brahma Vidya is. We discussed it earlier also, that very Akshayika, the anecdote of someone none less than Sage Narada approaching Sage Sanat Kumara with all humility, falling at his feet and requesting knowledge. How great this knowledge must be, that in spite of being so great, scholarly and so accomplished, even Sage Narada, without this knowledge, was still grieving. He still was a helpless creature in spite of attainment, all of this. So that's how valuable this Vidya is, and this here also. अथ इदानीं यथोक्तायाः विद्यायाः सम्यक् अवभासकारणं. Now concluding the text. What is the means of gaining this knowledge? How does the self manifest himself in our mind? Samyak avbhasakara. As I said, we already know the self. Except that the self does not reveal itself in its real glory. Esha sarveshu bhuteshu gudotmana prakashate. In all the beings, gudaha, the self is hidden as though. Na prakashate, does not shine in the total glory. The self shines. Like the sun shines in the water and reflects the sun, and there is small and one among many, and then dull and restless and changing. That's how the sun. So that's how the Atma also seems to be shining in my heart right now, as one among many, as small, limited, as dull, as restless. So that is how depends upon the reflecting medium. So mind is a reflecting medium, and it is the nature of mind to reflect the self, as it is nature of any reflecting medium such as shining water, etc., to reflect any lighted object. So also it is the nature of mind to reflect the self. And I know myself as the self is reflected in the mind. And so I know myself as limited, one, etc., etc. The same mind can also reflect me as Brahman. And therefore, we have to transform that mind such that the mind reflects the self as the self is, without the mind is distorting the reflection. If the mirror also is distorted, then the reflection of your face also appears distorted. If the surface of the mirror is not clean, then again the face looks dull. Clean the mirror. So mind is like mirror, whose nature it is to reflect the self. And we keep on watching our reflection and reacting the way we do. I'm no good, I'm scared, I'm happy, all constant comment is going on about the self. Constant complaint is going on about the self. But that's what I see. Therefore, the reflecting medium also should be transformed to reflect the self in its true glory. Idanim yathoktaya vidyaya samyak avabhasakaranam. What is it that will reflect this vidya? Reflect the nature of self in its true nature. Mukh avabhasakara seva adarshasya. Just as adarsha of the mirror is mukh avabhasakaranam, it reflects his face. So also the mind reflects this knowledge, reflects the self. When would the mirror reflect my face as it is? Vishuddhi, when it is clean and flat and plain. Vishuddhi karanam sadhanam upadeshyate. So the conclusion is by upadesha or instruction about sadhanam, the means of transforming the mind so that the mind reflects the self as the self is. Then only I can know. I know the self as the thing it reflects. I should change the reflection by changing the reflecting medium. That's the mind. And so, the remaining portion of that passage, number 33, Ahara Shuddhau Sattva Shuddhi Sattva Shuddhau Dhruva Smriti Smriti Lambhe Sarvagranthina Vipramokshaha. Ahara Shuddhau Sattva Shuddhi. When ahara means food, Shuddhau, when the food is pure, sattva shuddhi, the mind also becomes pure. So, Bhashyakara says, explaining this, akhriyate iti aharaha. Whatever it is that is grasped, acquired, consumed, is aharaha. Shabdadi vishaya vijnanam bhoktuhu bhogaya akhriyate. So not only what we eat through our mouth is called ahara, but whatever it is that we experience through the senses, through the mind, all of this also is consumed by us. So whatever you consume is called ahara. So not only what we consume through our mouths, but consumed through the eyes and ears and touch and taste and smell and the mind and what we read and what we talk and what company we keep. What all we do is everything has influence upon us, understand? That is how the mind is, which is subject to being influenced by whatever it comes in contact with. And so this mind keeps on consuming constantly, not only through, the objects through the organs of perception, also keeps on consuming what it hears, what it reads, what it contacts, of course what it eats, what it drinks. So ahara is given a very wide explanation here, interpretation, where we know that, so when the ahara becomes sattvic also, it is conducive for the sattvic aspect of sattvikness of the mind. But Swamiji, people, and Jesus Christ did not, he was eating meat and he was, but that's why this is not only ahara. Ahara includes what he saw, what he talked, what he heard, what he touched, what he thought. Everything is ahara. So not only we should have value for, of course, cleanliness, purity, sattvicness of the food, no doubt about that. But as one of the influencers, we should be careful about what we hear, what we see, what we touch, what we smell, what we read, what we study. Because all this influences the mind. So whatever it is that influences mind can be called ahara, because it can influence the mind in a desirable, positive way or in a negative way. Ahara sattva shuddhau sattva shuddhihi. Thus when there is purity of ahara or what is consumed, sattva shuddhi, where sattva here is the mind, so that's how the purification of mind takes place. Ragadvesha moha doshai asamsrustam vishaya vijnanam ityartha. What is ahara shuddhi? Ragadvesha vyuktaischu vishayan indreischaran atmavaschair vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati. Ragadvesha vyuktaistu indriyahi vishayan charan. One who interacts or contacts the objects of the world with a mind that is free from raga and dvesha. What happens is that these objects and all sorts of things, they seem to only very often trigger the raga dvesha that are there inside. So basically what is meant by sattva shuddhi is making the mind free from raga dveshas. Not only then these raga dveshas are already stored inside, but then also by this wrong food or consumption we keep on also multiplying these raga dveshas. So not only should we living the life which is conducive to getting rid of raga dveshas, we should also have the vyavahara such that new raga dveshas are not accumulated. This is the primary thing, the most important thing for any mumukshu, that we have an intellect and we have the mind, and which Shravanam, study of scriptures, reflection, etc. is the intellect that gets free from its notions. But question every night, but Swamiji, what about the abidance in knowledge? That mind, which is like the Shuddha, doesn't allow abidance of the knowledge. Meaning that the mind doesn't allow us to enjoy the fruit of the knowledge. For the knowledge to abide, for the knowledge to become beneficial to us, because everything expresses. So mind is the medium through which we interact with the world with mind, not with intellect. We interact with the world through mind, through the emotional faculty, through the impulsive faculty. When mind takes over, all my wisdom is gone somewhere. Oh, Swami, you were saying this, I was saying it, but you are behaving like this. That's right, my intellect was saying that, my mind is doing this. Therefore, there should be an alignment between the mind or emotional faculty and the intellect, the knowing faculty. And that is the work we have to do constantly. Ahar Shuddho, Sattva Shuddhi. A simple thing is given that you make sure that ahara, whatever you consume, is pure. There is no impurity. Nothing that can trigger or nothing that can contribute to raga dvesha, the impurities. Tasyam ahar shuddho satyam tadvatah antahkaranasya sattvasya shuddhi nirmalyam bhavati. Antahkarana. Sattva means antahkarana, the mind becomes nirmal, meaning become free from the mala or impurities of raga dvesha. Sattva shuddho dhruva smrutihi. Sattva shuddho cha satyam. When sattva shuddhi, when the purity of the mind takes place, yatha avagate bhumatmani dhruva avichinna smriti avismaran bhavati. Then yatha avagate bhumatmani. That bhumatma, avagata, as it is known from the shravanam mananam. When we have this mind that enjoys purity, avichinna avismaran bhavati, then there is an abidance in that knowledge. And so, that smruti has to take place in the mind. Avichinna smruti avismaranam bhavati. That smaranam or remembrance is in the mind. And remembrance goes away when the mind is overcome by impurity or ragadvesha. Then smruti goes away. Krodhat bodhi sammoha, sammohat smruti vibhramaha, smruti vibhramshat buddhinasa, buddhinasat pranashyati. So smruti, remembrance, retaining. Only when I retain whatever it is I know, whatever little I know, if it is retained, then it becomes beneficial. It may be in the buddhi, but it should come to the mind, which is where the vyavahara takes place. And therefore, the mind is a very important faculty as far as its retaining its purity is concerned. Tasyam cha labdham smrutilambe sati. And so, smrutilambe sarvagranthyanam vipramokshaha. When the smruti is gained, when the abidance and knowledge is gained, then sarvagranthyanam vipramoksha. All the knots are cut asunder, meaning all complexes are gone. And that is called freedom, that is freedom from these complexes. Iti. And so in the conclusion, this little instruction also is that's out of kindness, out of compassion, the teachers. Let me tell you just one thing is told here. First take home, what take home thing? Ahara shuddho, sattva shuddhi, sattva shuddho, dhruva smriti. So because other things, Atma, you may forget all, but this much you can remember. And that's how Sayyid Sanat Kumara can complete or conclude his teaching. yataha etat uttarottaram yathoktam ahar shuddhi moolam tasmat sa karya ityarthaha. Since what was all said has its moola in ahara shuddhi, sattva shuddhi has it, therefore sakarya, therefore, so ahara shuddhi is a very, because ahara is what we can control. Ahara means whatever we consume through any organs of perception or experience. Sarvam shastrartham asheshatah uktva. Shastrartham, what the Shastra has to teach is this asheshatah, without leaving any residue, has been said in totality. This kind of elaborate exposition you may rarely find anywhere else of knowledge. Atat adesha Sayeva sarvam, ahameva sarvam, atmaeva sarvam. Leaving no doubts. So that's how Shastratam asheshatah ukva Akhyayika Upasamharti Shruti. Now the last sentence was Shruti. So far Sanat Kumar was saying. Now Shruti now Akhyayika Upasamharti concludes this anecdote. So let us read that last sentence. Tasmai Mrudir Kashayaya Tamasasparam Darshayati Bhagavan Sanat Kumaraha Tam skandaityachakshade. Tam skandaityachakshade. Tasmai Mrudri Kashaya. Now says Narada is described Mrudri Kashaya. Kashaya is the spots which are on our clothes, etc., and how you wash them with soap, etc. So also the mind is like a fabric on which so many kashaya, the spots are there, and so the mind also, the fabric of mind also, should be washed. Now with this soap, ahara shuddhu, sattva shuddhi, etc. Kashaya, ragadveshadi dosha. The ragadvesha, that dosha or the defect of kashaya, like a color that colors the cloth. Ranjana rupatvat sa jnana vairagya abhyasa rupa ksharena kshalita. So how did Narada, sage Narada, cleaned up the fabric of the mind? How this kashaya of ragadvesha removed? Jnana vairagya abhyasa rupa ksharena kshara. Like the soap. And so says Narada, who made his mind totally defeated from all kashaya by the abhyasa, the repeated practice of jnana, vairagya. That's how. And so this work has to be done, which sage Narada carried out. Mruditaha vinashitaha yasyana tasmi yogyaya mrudita kashayaya. So then sage Narada is mrudita kashaya, one who has become freed from all impurities. Tasma yogyaya mudikashaya. Yogya, the one who is a fit, competent student, says Narada, who has become free from kashaya impurities. Tamasaha avidya lakshanat param paramasatam darshayati. So tamasaha param darshayati. Sanat Kumara showed him the param, the other shore of the darkness, meaning that Sanat Kumara enabled him to dispel the darkness of ignorance and be established in the light of knowledge. Koso Bhagavan. So Bhagavan Sanat Kumara. Koso Bhagavan. Who is this Bhagavan? Bhagavan is defined here that Utpattim pralayam chaiva bhutanam agatim gatim vetti vidyam cha savacho Bhagavaniti. One definition of Bhagavan. One who knows the creation and dissolution and all the gati, what's the ultimate, what's going to happen to people, what will come, what has happened. Who knows vidya, avidya, knowledge, ignorance, samsara, moksha. He is Bhagavan. Meaning Sanat Kumara was Bhagavan like this. Vidya vidyam avidyam cha, one who knows vidya as well as avidya. You should know avidya also, then only you can know your student very well. You should know vidya very well, then you can remove the avidya. Samacho Bhagavan iti. Sanat Kumara was Bhagavan in this sense. Imam dharma Sanat Kumara tam skandha ityachakshate, tam skandha ityachakshate. Tameva Sanat Kumaram devam skandha ityachakshate kathayanti tadvidah. Those who know who Sanat Kumara was, they say, hey, he is Skanda. Skanda is Kartikeya. So apparently Sanat Kumara is described here as the incarnation of Kartikeya. Also Skanda means a wise person. So Skanda iti achakshate, Skanda iti achakshate, Dvivachanam adhyaya parisamaptyartham. Or conclusion of adhyaya, conclusion of a text. This Dvivachanam, the last sentence is repeated. So this is how we had the privilege of studying, reflecting, deliberating upon the 7th chapter of Chhandogya, which turned out to be much more rewarding than what I even thought. 7th chapter. But now that we went through, and I guess in front of this audience, whatever, it has been a very rewarding experience for the Swami. And I'm quite sure that it has been a rewarding experience for the listeners also. And that is all because of the grace of Sanat Kumara, Narada, our gurus, and the whole setup here. And of course, all our Swamis, our gurus. So it has been a very rewarding experience. I'm very happy about it. So we only pray that the blessing continues upon everybody, that the knowledge slowly dawns and becomes clearer and clearer, slowly gains an abidance, that everyone really benefits. Because that's the purpose of all of this, is to benefit, to be happy, that's all. Meaning to be free, to be happy. And I'm sure of the grace of the Sanat Kumara teachers and Narada, that if we continue to pursue this, we will all be more and more rooted in this knowledge, more and more free and happy. And that's what we pray. And with that prayer, we conclude. Om apyayantu mamangani vak pranaschakshushrotramatho balamindriyani cha sarvani sarvam brahma upanishadam maham brahma nirakuryam mama brahma nirakarod anirakaranamastva nirakaranam me astu tadatmani nirate yopanishatsu dharmaste mai santu te mai santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Tadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.